Hey guys, in this video, I wanted to talk about smartphone cases. Now, more specifically, it's these EMF smartphone cases that you can find on the market today. Now, this is a product that Jesse and I we've been using for the last few years now. And it is a product that we currently do recommend to our clients. And very recently, I've been getting some feedback from clients asking me, they're asking questions about these cases. And they're asking me as to whether or not these cases actually do anything at all, whether or not these cases actually block any of that electromagnetic radiation that's coming to and from your phone. And there actually are a lot of EMF specialists out there right now that are suggesting that for you to not even waste your time and your money buying one of these. And the reason for that is because these cases, they don't seem to perform as to how they're marketed by the manufacturer. And I really wanted to share my insight with you guys on this because I do agree with a lot of what is being talked about here, but at the same time, I have a little bit of a different perspective on this. And I really wanted to get into that. We're going to get into that towards the end of this video. But to begin, I want to focus your attention here down to the bottom of the screen here. You can see I got one of these cell phone cases shown here. And if you look here, you can see we've got the iPhone here inside the case. And on the left-hand side, you can see there's a cover that really flips over top of the phone. Now, what's really important for you guys to see with this is that when you close the cover over top of your phone, there are going to be gaps. There's going to be a gap here at the top of the phone. There's going to be a gap here on the side. And there's going to be a gap here down at the bottom. Now, it's important to have some gaps here because we still need to make a connection from the phone to the cell phone towers, or from the phone to your Wi-Fi network if you're using one. So we can't have this case completely enclose the phone. And if we did that, your phone wouldn't work. This is the key here because I mean, your phone call, you wouldn't be able to receive any phone calls. You wouldn't be able to receive any text messages. So this is the reason why there are some gaps there. And this is one of the key reasons as to why a lot of these EMF specialists are not recommending these phone cases, because they don't seem to provide adequate protection. And a lot of the manufacturers of these EMF protection cases, they are suggesting that these cases can block up to 99% of the radiation that's coming to and from your phone. Now, one very important thing I really wanted to mention here, guys, is that the manufacturers of these cell phone cases, they have done their own internal testing here. So this 99% that some of these companies are claiming, it does come from somewhere. And it's actually coming from the material that they're using inside these cases. Now, if we look at the material on its own, the material itself, what the testing has shown is that it does have the ability to block 99% or more of that signal. So the potential is there with the materials that they're using. The issue here lies now is when you actually take that material and you make a cell phone case out of it, and now you have all these gaps all along the side of the phone. This is now where the problem comes, because what this cell phone case is doing is it's not going to be blocking 99% of that signal anymore. But the material itself, it does have that capability. So it's very important for me to mention that here. Now, this whole video here that I'm doing has really been sparked from an article that was sent to me about a week ago. And it was sent to me from a client who was actually concerned about these cases because she was interested in buying one. And she told me to read this, and I read this over, and it was a very interesting article to read. And if you guys get a chance, I highly recommend that you take the time to read it. And I've showed the link down here at the bottom, as you can see. Now, this article here, as you can see up at the top, was written by an organization called Tech Wellness. Now, this organization consists of a number of different professionals that are in the medical field. We've got electrical engineers that are in this organization. And what their main mission is to really provide the public with the best possible EMF knowledge here, and really the best ways on how we can protect ourselves. Now, after reading this article over, I decided I wanted to put some key bullet points here on the screen, and I want to talk to you guys about them, because it's very important to see what the where this general consensus is coming from and really who's involved in this. Now, if we look at the top here, you can see the article, the title of the article was called "Do EMF Protection Phone Cases Work?" with a question mark. And it continues on and it says, anti-radiation cell phone case brands like Defender Shield, Safe Sleeve, Shield Your Body, WaveGuard, and others make enticing claims like this. Eliminate up to 99% of the harmful radiation coming from the phone. So this is really the key focus of this article. And what these experts here in this organization are really doing is they're really calling out the manufacturers of these EMF protection cell phone cases. And they're actually also calling out other EMF professionals who recommend them. Because the experts here at Tech Wellness, they have done their own internal testing on this. And they bought a number of different EMF cell phone cases from a lot of these different manufacturers. And their test results have concluded in this article that that radiation level is nowhere near 99%. So these cases are not blocking anywhere near this 99% like they're marketing on their website. And I want to show you who some of these EMF experts are that are being referenced in this article and really what they're saying about these protective cases. Now, the first one here, if we scroll up to the top, it's someone that actually works within this Tech Wellness organization. And his name is Larry Gust. He's an electrical engineer, faculty member of the International Institute of Building Biology. Now, the building biology, this is something that I reference in a number of my videos because this is an organization that has really set the standards here for really what's acceptable and what isn't when it comes to the electromagnetic radiation that's in your living space. So I do reference their standards quite often, so I'm quite familiar with the work that they're doing. Now, Larry Gust, he's also the owner of Gust Environmental, and he does not recommend these anti-radiation phone cases. He's pretty much against them, and he's saying, don't bother wasting your money on them. Now, if we move down here to the second one here, the Environmental Health Trust. This is an organization here that is headed by Dr. Deborah Davis. Now, Dr. Deborah Davis is someone that's a scientist that's been in this EMF field for many, many years now. And she has just a wealth of knowledge with the radiation that's coming off these phones and the standards that are being set. She's just a wealth of knowledge with all of this. And she works within this organization here called the Environmental Health Trust that consists of a number of other scientists that work with her. And really the consensus from this group is that they are not supporting these cases. They don't recommend them. Now, the third one here, we have Magda Havas. Now, Magda Havas is also someone I reference in a number of my videos as well. And she's a scientist that's actually here in Canada. And she also has many, many years of experience in this EMF world here. And she's just a wealth of knowledge. I mean, she's got a lot of great knowledge and a lot of great information that she's sharing. And she is also recommending that we don't buy one of these. Now, the fourth expert I have here is EMF information leader Jeremy Johnson. Now, this is another scientist here who's been doing this for many, many years. Again, another scientist with just a wealth of knowledge, lots of expertise in this industry. He's from EMF Analysis. And again, he does not recommend anybody buy these phone cases. And the last one that we have here is Joel Moskowitz. Now, he is a scientist from saferemr.com, and he actually cautions against scams and claims for any of these radiation protection devices that are out there. And again, he is another scientist that is not recommending these phone cases. So here you see we have really a heavyweight list of scientists here who have been doing all kinds of great work in this field for many, many years. And they're all coming to the same consensus here that these phone cases we should be staying away from these phone cases. It's not worth our money. Now, I want to continue on with this article here because I want to read what they're saying here. And it says, we couldn't find one legit EMF expert online or anywhere else that would recommend a radiation blocking case or anti-radiation case. And it finishes off, it says, so if any EMF professional says you should get an anti-radiation phone case, you may want to find out if they are actually an EMF expert. And when I read that, guys, that really started sending some alarm bells off in my mind here, because that's a very powerful statement to make. And for me personally, I've been in this industry for a few years now, and I've been an electrical engineer for about 15 years. And I've got a lot of expertise in this world here. And I'm going to be one of those EMF specialists here that kind of raises my hand and says, I still see a potential benefit with these cases. And this is really where I wanted to offer in my perspective, because it's a little bit different than what the consensus is within this article and where all these scientists and EMF experts are coming from here. Now, I mentioned earlier that this tech wellness organization, they did do their own internal testing. And I want to touch on this just for a few minutes here. Now, what they did is they've actually purchased a number of different phone cases from a number of different manufacturers that are producing them. And I'm showing you one of them here in this image in front of you here. You can see there's a case here from Defender Shield. Now, this is a cell phone case that I've actually used personally. I have experience with this one. And it's one that Jesse actually uses every day as well. And what they've done is they've actually taken the cell phone, they put it inside this case, as you can see here, and they flipped the cover over top of the front of the phone. Now, what they did next is they've taken an EMF meter like this one here, and they put it right beside the phone. Now, what's really important here that I want you guys to see is that if you look at this orange ball here, this is actually the antenna of the meter. And if you notice where they're actually putting this antenna, they're putting it right beside all of these gaps that are all around the phone. Now, for me, guys, this seems obvious that this EMF meter is going to register very, very high at this particular position. And the reason for that is because the phone is still trying to connect to the cell phone tower, or it's trying to connect to the Wi-Fi network, whatever it is that they're using in this test. Obviously, that the meter is going to register high here. And a lot of people have asked me, how come you haven't done this test? And to be completely honest with you guys, this is a test that I have actually refused to do. And the reason for that is because, personally, I don't think this is an adequate test to really do here to see if this case is actually providing us any benefit. And my thought process on this has always been, we truly need to see how the human body is responding to this. This should be our tool that we need to use here. Because putting a meter just in the environment here, right next to that gap, and showing you that the intensity level here, as you can see what they're measuring, 4,949 microwatts per centimeter squared, which is significantly high. I just don't think that this is truly an adequate test. And it's obvious here that what you can conclude from this is that this cell phone case here is not blocking very much at all. It's especially not anywhere close to this 99% that some of these manufacturers are marketing. So for me, I've always said that the test that we need to do is to see how the human body is responding to its environment. Now that we've actually changed the environment a little bit, because we put this case all around the phone, yes, there are some gaps, but we don't know truly whether or not this thing is still providing us some benefit. Like if you're carrying this phone around in your pocket, I mean, that electromagnetic radiation, I mean, it may not be targeting your tissues as much as if you didn't use this cell phone case at all. I mean, it still might be providing us with a significant benefit here. And honestly, we don't truly know though, because we haven't really done these tests. And one other very important thing I want to say on this, and I've already covered this in previous videos, is that this electromagnetic signal that's going wirelessly through our space here, we truly do not know how that interacts with the human body. And this is still unknown to us in science. And as long as this unknown still exists, we have a serious problem here. And we need to be very careful how we move forward with a lot of this EMF science and a lot of these EMF products that we're making, and a lot of the testing that we're doing here to prove whether or not these devices are effective or not, especially when we don't know truly how this radiation interacts with the body. And to me, this is something we can no longer ignore. And that's why in previous videos, I proposed to you a very, very basic high-level kind of model here on what I see. And I'm going to be building on that here towards the end of this video. I'm going to keep expanding on this. So having said all of that, guys, I still do see an issue here. I mean, there are gaps around the phone. Clearly, this is going to have an effect. I'm not questioning that at all. But what kind of effect that has, I don't think we can come to any true conclusion by putting a meter right next to these gaps and just displaying a number on the screen. I don't think we can come to a true consensus with this. Now, I wanted to talk about why I still recommend these cases to my clients and why I actually still see that there could be a benefit by using one of these. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the actual wireless signal that's coming to and from your cell phone. And instead, it has everything to do with the battery that's inside your cell phone and also the touch screen that's on the front of your phone as well. Now, I've done a video previously talking about this already, and this is a concern that I've seen for a little while here. And personally, I mean, this is just my personal opinion here, I think that the potential energy field here that could be coming off this battery, and even the electrostatic field here that we're interacting with on the touchscreen every day when we're actually touching it with our finger, this could be very much more destructive in its nature than any of these wireless signals are. And the reason why I'm saying that is because when we're dealing with this battery here, what we're dealing with is we're dealing with the storage of electrical potential here now, this storage element. And when we're dealing with this wireless signal that's going through the space here, that wireless signal doesn't truly touch that storage medium. It does not touch that. And this is one of the reasons why I think this could be a serious problem that we're not paying enough attention to. Now, I want to direct your attention over here to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen here. You can see I got a couple images shown. You can see on the right here, I got an iPhone, and I got the iPhone battery here shown, this lithium-ion battery that powers everything in your phone. Now, if we were to take this smartphone here and put it inside one of these cases, you can clearly see here that the bottom side of that case, I believe that that case will provide a sense of protection for us, if indeed this battery is producing an energy field that we need to be concerned about. And the same thing goes for the touchscreen. If we flip this cover over top of the touchscreen, I think that this will provide some adequate protection here, because this touchscreen is always producing an electrostatic field. It's just waiting for us to come in contact with it with our finger. And I'm kind of showing this here in the top middle of your screen here. You can see we've got a hand that's coming in contact with the touchscreen. And we've got these red field lines here. And what these are this is this electrostatic field that's always present on your touchscreen. And when we touch the touchscreen, you can see that we can kind of navigate these field lines, and we can control this circuit here. And I'm suggesting that this could have its issues here. And by looking at this smartphone, this EMF protective case here, this may help us here, because if we carry our phone around in our pocket for a significant amount of time, and this case protects us, or will help protect us from the battery and the touchscreen because it's providing a surface over top of it, then this could seriously have some positive benefits here that we're not paying attention to. Now, this is something that I have personal experience with. And when I actually use my phone without any case at all, and I hold my phone in my hand, and let's say I'm making a voice call, like over WhatsApp, I want to make a little, send a voice message, right? I have my phone in my right hand, and I'm actually taking my finger and I'm holding down that microphone button as I'm talking. And if I'm sending a message that's quite long in length, maybe several minutes, I notice that my hand, my arm, it starts to get a little painful. And there's some sensations here that are really concerning to me. And by the time I'm done sending that message, I can't wait to put my phone down. So clearly there's something going on here. And Jessie and I have been experimenting with this for quite a little while now. And she's had the issues with her go far beyond what I'm kind of going through, because she's very much more sensitive to this. And really the protocol that we've kind of come up with to help with this is that we would recommend our clients put the phone inside one of these cases. And at the same time, we would even consider you getting these shielded gloves, because this is something Jessie has been using for the last little while as well. And she's noticed it makes a big difference, because she spends a lot of time on her phone. And when she uses her case, when she uses these gloves, she notices some significant differences here. And at the same time, we kind of take it to another level here where we can actually use this stylus pen. So instead of using your finger to touch the touch screen and come into contact with this electrostatic field here, this pen will keep your fingers away from the phone so that you don't have to make contact with the phone at all. So with all of these three things here, this could be something to help us with the battery and the touchscreen. And this is something that this Tech Wellness article, they don't even consider any of this in their article. It's just strictly that wireless component. Now, if we look up here to the top left-hand corner of your screen here, you can see I've got a hand reflexology chart. Now, this is something that I see that might actually be the mechanism here as to how this energy field from the battery and the interaction here that when we're touching the touchscreen, how it can actually impact and affect the body. Because if you notice here that, I mean, in ancient traditions, this has been known for centuries. And it's been well known that our hands here are, it's almost like they're the gateway to every other organ system inside the body. And there's an energy transport system here that's happening that's very subtle in its nature. And in some ancient traditions, they call this meridians. They may call this chi lines. Sometimes they call them nadis. There's a number of different names for them. But what it is there seems to be some subtle energy and information transport system here that's connecting the body holistically. And our hands seem to be in contact with all of that. Every organ system kind of passes through the hands. And if we're holding our phone in our hand for long periods of time, the battery is in constant contact with our phone, and we're constantly touching the phone with our finger. As you can see here, when you look at this reflexology chart, the index fingers here, you can see are connected to the head and the brain. So the amount of time that we spend on our phone swiping and doing things with our finger, this could potentially be disturbing a lot of the energy and information networks here that are connected up into the head and the brain. And this is, I want to present a cause for concern here, because this is something that I see that could be happening. And I'm trying to do my best to kind of help people with this and prevent some of these disturbances from happening. Now, if you're a physicist or an electrical engineer or any other scientist, you might be wanting to stop me here and say, you know, Kevin, this battery, the electric current that's produced from the battery poses no threat to the human body. And like I said, I've covered that in the last video that I did. And if we look up here in the top left corner here, there's a scientific consensus here that really a DC electrostatic field produced from a lithium-ion DC electric current, this does not harm the physical body. And I want to talk about this really briefly, because this is where the end of this video is going here, because this is where I want to offer my perspective to you guys, because to me, it seems to be with our current knowledge of electricity, this might be where we're having the issues here. And to kind of show you what I mean by this, if we go down here to the bottom, you can see I'm showing a basic lithium-ion battery cell. And what you're seeing here is you got these green lithium ions that are flowing from the negative to the positive of the battery. And there's a DC electric current that flows out of the positive and back to the negative. And it flows up and it powers all the devices inside your phone, and then that current returns back to the battery. And when these lithium ions are flowing, what's happening here is there's an electrostatic field that seems to be flowing with it. And what that means is this electrostatic field, it means the electric field component is more static in its nature, which means it's not changing. It seems to be very steady and very constant. And when we have an electrostatic field like this, what this means is that it does not produce a magnetic field, or it produces a more static magnetic field. At least that's what we currently believe. And since this electrostatic field here, which is very constant and it's not changing its motion, this means it doesn't produce a changing, rotating magnetic field. Then what this means is that there's no possible way for this to induce an electrical event inside the body that could cause some type of disturbance. And this process that I'm trying to describe here, it's a process that's called induction. And when the rotating magnetic field is constantly changing, this is where we can actually induce an electrical event here that happens within physical matter. This rotating magnetic field needs to be changing. And with this electrostatic field that's being produced here from these lithium ions, it's not producing that rotating magnetic field that's changing. So this is really why we currently believe that there's no threat here. There's nothing that could be happening inside the body. And for me, personally, I would like to challenge this because I see something else. I see something else going on here. Now, I want to offer you guys another perspective to consider here. And I really want to share with you guys what I see here. And when we're dealing with electricity, fundamentally, really what we're dealing with is just a play of the electric and magnetic field circuit. It's just all a play of this. And I know gravity is involved in this. Personally, I think it's truly involved in this, but this is a heavy one. And I'm leaving this out of the equation for now. And I think we need to kind of center our focus on this electric and magnetic field circuit again, because personally, I think our current knowledge of what we know about it is not truly accurate. The foundation of it is not truly accurate from what I see. Now, there's 4 key components here to this that I really wanted to share with you guys that I think will really kind of provide the foundation here for you guys to kind of really understand the perspective I have here. And really the first one that we need to kind of get into the very nature of the atom itself. And if you look down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see I'm circling here a lithium atom. And this is really the circuit diagram here of lithium. And you can see all there is just 3 components to this. You can see here in the center, we've got the proton, we've got the neutron, and orbiting around the actual nucleus here is believed to be this electron. And what's interesting about this is that this electron here is what is believed to kind of possess this negative quality of electricity. And it's also clearly involved in governing the space-time geometry around the actual atom itself. And if we go into the nucleus, we have the proton. This is what's believed to possess this positive quality of electricity. And of course, we have this neutron, which seems to be more neutral. Now, for me, when I started to look into this just a few years ago, I mean, the question that I really truly had in the back of my mind was that if we have this electron and we have this proton, they possess this electric charge quality. It seems to be truly fundamental in making electricity happen and all the amazing things that we can do with it. Then where does it acquire that electric potential from? Where is its true source? And for me, this is what I've always seen that was truly fundamental with the atom, which is this electric charge quality. I'm calling it a quality, not so much a property. And for me, it's always been more fundamental than mass. I know other physicists would say, no, mass is clearly involved. And yes, I agree. But for me, mass is relative. This is something where we have inertia at its roots. Inertia seems to be something that is synonymous with like a pure resistive quality here. And to me, this is not something that I saw was truly, truly fundamental here. And for me, it's this electric charge quality here, which is, I think, what actually may take us to something truly universal in its nature. And really the second question I kind of had with this is that if the electron is kind of whizzing around the atom and providing this space-time type of geometry here for the atom, then what's truly controlling this? What's governing this? What's governing this electron type of wave function here that we've kind of come up with in quantum mechanics? What is truly going on here? These are the questions that I've been kind of asking. That's really kind of led me down my own journey here to kind of share with you guys what I've come up with. So the first component that comes out of this is that it has to do with this electron. This electron is what is believed to possess this negative quality of electricity. And it's also this electron that seems to be very involved in governing this space-time geometry of the atom, this physical space-time geometry. Because we have to remember all the atoms on the periodic table, they have a physical presence here. And we can see the electron seems to be surrounding the nucleus. So this would almost suggest to us that the electron may be something that is physical in its nature. And for me, this goes back to that question I just asked earlier, was that if the electron is negative in its electric charge and the proton is positive, then how is it, where is it acquiring that electric potential from? Where is its true source? And for me, with all the work that I have done, has led me to believe that that source is not anything physical. And this would suggest that it's the electron itself is not anything that's surrounding the atom. The electron is actually inside of the atomic nucleus. And all my work is showing that it's actually inside of the proton. So that's really the first thing that really emerges out of this. Now, the second component that I have here has to do with this proton and neutron in the center of the atom. And if you look here on the left here, this lithium schematic here again, you'll see in the center, we've got the proton and the neutron, but I've also got in brackets something called a quark. Now, in the science of particle physics, which is really one of probably the most powerful scientific models that we have out there right now, it's saying that the proton and the neutron are no longer fundamental. And they've been replaced by a particle called a quark. Now, if you look over here just to the right of that schematic, you'll see here we got the proton and the neutron. They've been replaced by an up and a down quark. Now, these quarks also possess electric charge, but in a little different way. They just possess what's actually called a fraction of electric charge. Now, I'm not going to go into any more details about quarks here in this video because there's too much to talk about. But if we go back to this first component that I talked about here, about the electron not being around the atom, that's actually inside the nucleus of the atom. And here we've replaced that nucleus, the proton and the neutron, with quarks. Then this quark model that we've come up with is something that's in the way here. Something that's in the way here of preventing us. It's preventing us from seeing that electron's true home, its true source. And for me and all the work that I'm doing here is suggesting that these quarks, they actually have no true existence at all. And it's important to know that they only truly actually exist mathematically. But for me, they don't fit in this model that I have. So it's very, very important to bring this up here. Now, the third component that comes from this is something that I think is truly massive, really groundbreaking science here. And there was a scientist by the name of Dr. Harold Apston. He was, I got it shown here in the center of the screen here. He was a scientist that was around just after Einstein's time. And he was one that really didn't, he thought Einstein's work was really truly incomplete. And he was really looking to advance science in a different way. And in my view, what I think this man has done, he's really put the finishing touches on James Clerk Maxwell's work. And for those not familiar, James Clerk Maxwell, he was the scientist that really gave us our original understanding of light and electricity. And it was all very mathematical. It was very heavy in mathematics. And since electricity is just a play of this electric and magnetic field, Maxwell's original work here didn't really give us a conception as to where the electric field energy was being sourced from. And I mean by means of the actual space itself. The atoms here that are all taking up space, where does the actual electric field energy, like where is its source? Where is it sourcing all of that energy from? Where's it truly coming from? Within the space. And I think his model was very incomplete on that. But Apston, I think, really helped put the finishing touches on that and introduce to us a completely new way of looking at this. Now, if you look down here at the bottom here, I'm kind of circling here, you can see what I've got here is a hexahedron type of crystal lattice here. And what Apston has really proposed to us is that if we go into the nucleus of the atom, we actually go inside the proton here. What we have is a very supremely structured dimension of space here. And not only that, this structured dimension of space seems to be where all of this electric charge potential appears to be stored. It appears to be stored within this crystal lattice, inside the atom, which is not physical. And what his work has brought to us here is you can see this crystal lattice here. I'm kind of showing you this cube here that's on the outside here. And right here, you can see I've got what's actually called the muon. And this is the work that Apston has brought to us, is that the electric charge potential that's within that cell, it's mathematically very much equivalent to what we believe is called the muon, which is something that's actually called the heavy electron. And in particle physics, what we believe now is that this electron that appears to be around the actual atom, this electron actually has a family of other particles. And in Apston's work, what he's showing us is that this first kind of cubic type of lattice here is all the electrical potential that works out to be this actual heavy electron. And it's also important to mention here too, is that this cubic lattice is not just electrical potential that's stored here. It also has the ability to become a working fluid, a very subtle plasma gas-like fluid here that's contained within this cell. And this is where the work that I'm doing now has come in, because I'm working on his model and I'm trying to take it further. And what is emerging from this is that all the electric charge potential that's in this cell, this is now where we get into a new model of electric current. Because electric current in the model that I have is not anything that's physical. It's an electric current that's happening within a non-physical dimension of space. Now, it's also important to mention here too that in Apston's time, he didn't actually know truly what the electron was. He had a lot of different theories, and I've read his theories, and this man's done a lot of work. This man's written 5, 6 different books. He's got all kinds of research papers, scientific studies, essays. This man's very well written. He's done a lot of work, and he's left us a lot of work. And I've read I've read almost all of it, more than once, to kind of get an idea of where this guy's mind was at. But this man didn't quite know what the electron was. And with all the other work that I'm doing, which we'll have to get to in future videos, is that the electron itself is something that's actually inside of that heavy electron that Apston brought us. So on the outside here, you have to imagine that this is where this heavy electron would be. It kind of fills this unit cell. And then inside that, you can see we have the electron here. And the electron and the muon are kind of connected by what's called a tesseract system. And a very multi-dimensional perspective of electric current begins to emerge from this. And it's very deep on where this goes. And I'm just scratching the surface here with the electron and the muon. It goes way deeper than this from what I can see. But I wanted to at least introduce this to you guys so you can actually see what actually might be inside of the atom, much deeper than what we've gotten to yet. And I think what I'm sharing here affects everybody here, guys. I think it affects everybody equally. Because if what I'm suggesting here has any accuracy to it, then what this really means is that this true electric field energy generator here actually resides within all of the cells inside your body. So naturally, everybody is going to be affected by this. And this is why I've done other YouTube videos on my channel, which actually connects this electric field generator here that I'm beginning to show you with the human genome, and how I'm showing you some connections there. Because, I mean, what's happening in this world today is that our human genome is under attack. And really with the work that I'm trying to show you guys here is that I could very well be showing you what they're attacking here. And I know this is heavy stuff, and I don't want to go any more deeper into this than I already have, but I just wanted to kind of introduce to you the fact that there could be a completely new model of electric current that exists, where the true nature of electric current is not anything that's in this physical world. And the electrical storage, the electrical potential storage medium here, where all of that energy is being stored, could actually be stored within a dimension of space that's not physical, which would give us some new insight into understanding the nature of batteries. Now, the fourth and last component that really naturally emerges from all of this, and if Harold Apston's work is accurate in telling us that all of the electric charge potential is stored within a dimension of space that's not physical, and it resides inside the proton, inside the atomic nucleus. And this electric charge potential that's stored within this crystal type of lattice here, and it has the ability to become a working fluid, really by means of vibration. This working fluid begins to naturally emerge inside that unit cell and becomes the true nature of electric current. Then that means this rotating magnetic field circuit here naturally has to be in the environment. And this kind of brings a new model here, now that we know that the electron itself could very well not be what's around the atom, and maybe has never ever been, and that it could be actually inside the proton like I've showed you. Then that means the rotating magnetic field could be what's actually simulating this true space-time geometry. And it could be doing this universally, which means in the model that I have, this universal rotating magnetic field circuit appears to be simulating this entire periodic table of the elements all simultaneously, like one musical symphony here. This is what I see here, guys. And our individual existence here seems to be within this. It's within this circuit that I'm trying to show you here. And even relativity and E equals mc squared, there's a lot of things that can come out of this. As long as we have this universal circuit here present that I'm showing you, there is a way that we can derive a lot of this other stuff. And I've already been working on this. And there's lots we can talk about here. But this is what I see here. Now, if we come back to this lithium-ion battery circuit here that we kind of started with, we look up here in the top left-hand corner, you can see here we got this lithium-ion kind of being forced to move across the battery cell, and it goes up and powers everything, comes back around again. And what's also important to know is that this lithium ion is not anything that naturally occurs in nature. It's completely synthetic how we actually derive this lithium ion from its natural source, which it actually comes from igneous rock type of element here out in nature. We actually have to go through some heavy processing to get this lithium in this form, which is completely unnatural, which means it's completely synthetic. And this is what's actually moving through the battery cell. And if we come over here to this hand reflexology chart again, we look at all the hands, we look at all the possible circuits here that are running through our hands that are connected to everything in our body. And we consider the fact that this model that I just proposed to you is that all the physical and everything in the physical could very well be simulated by this rotating magnetic field circuit. And it could be done universally here. There could be something universally that's simulating this physical world. And if that's the case, and we take this battery circuit here, like this lithium ion battery that's in our phone, and we have this placed on our hand, and our hand is where all of these circuits are running through, and here we are forcing this synthetic entity to kind of move across the battery cell, then to me, it seems obvious that the potential is there for that electrical activity to be disturbing a lot of the natural electrical activity that's happening within our hands. Now, I know this may take several more videos to kind of make my case on this, and I'm really just giving you guys a very basic, high-level overview of this perspective that I have. And I have to start somewhere. And I will be building on this. You can better believe that I will be building on this. And I'm hoping to make a more solid case here for what I'm trying to show here, that these batteries and these touch screens could be very disruptive to a lot of the natural activity that's happening inside of our body. And on that note, I am going to bring this video to a close. I thank you guys if you guys have stuck with me this far. And I really thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.